Hi guys, I'm going to paint these cute little Halloween shelf sitters that hold the candles, and the candle shines through the ghost body. So I thought these would be cute for this Halloween season and those that love Summerween. I'm going to use my painter's tape. This is Frog painter's tape to kind of color sort here. So I'm just going to set this here. I know I want the bats black. And then I think I'm gonna do the tag purple. I'm gonna do the ghost light buttermilk. I think I'm gonna do this green. I think I'm gonna do this tag green. Maybe this a brown. And then I'm gonna paint this warm sunset. This will be white. I'm gonna paint both of these brown just to give it a finished look. So let's go ahead and set this to the side, and we'll go with Deco Arts light buttermilk for the ghost. These should be pretty easy to paint. So I like to use makeup sponges. You can use paintbrushes, whatever your heart desires. Go around here. You can also use a roller since this is kind of a larger surface. But I like to use my rollers when I'm painting multiple, like batch painting. So just going around and making it as even as possible. Definitely with white, you have to use more than one coat. And since I just went over his mouth and it's pretty thick, I'm going to use my scraping tool in a second and go over the line so that, patience. I always have to remind myself patience. Of course, I could go back in after I'm done painting and just use like a black Sharpie or paint pen and outline his face, but I like the engraved look. So I made myself a new scraping tool. I took a mechanical pencil, I got a pack of them pretty cheap, and I put a needle in where the lead would go. Just thought I'd try something different. Oops, I just jumped the line. So usually, like when I jump the track, you can kind of see that mark right there. I just take my finger and just kind of like buff it out. And then when I go over it again with paint, I'll make sure to get some down there. Okay. I'll let that dry. Alright. Let's go ahead and paint this guy. This guy, I'm going to do warm sunset. I'm going to do a stem brown or green. I don't know which one yet. So you can go ahead and just paint it orange, or you can just carefully follow the score lines and not. But I don't want to have to go over it because it is a kind of a large area, but it'll be fine. I may go back over this with a second coat. We'll see how it dries. Okay, let that dry. And then let's move to our pieces here. So I want these to be a green. I think I'm going to use Hauser Light Green. This is my color match to Hauser Light Green from Decor. I got it color matched at Home Depot. And if anybody wants my a picture of like the formula so you can take it to Home Depot, reach out, let me know. Eventually I'll be creating a album, I think, on my Facebook page with all those little tips and tricks and stuff. But definitely with the light Hauser Green, we will have to go over this more than once. I find it cheaper to get, and they last longer, and I don't have to order so much, and it, so I get the sample sizes. Or you can get bigger, like if you go through a particular color a lot. I've done it. I've gotten quart size or gallon sizes. And then I just transfer the paint into like a honey jar container. But you can use whatever type of container that you prefer. That's just what I do. So, okay, I'm gonna need to paint that again, but I'll let that dry. I'm gonna paint this purple, and I think I'm gonna go with Deco Arts Lavender. Just need a little bit of that. Okay. That might look good. With just one coat, but we'll see how it dries. Spooky, I'm gonna do dark chocolate. And then I'm gonna use that for the base too, so. And we can move these things to the side and work on our bases. So with the bases, this will be facing up, and then this will be facing your counter, or the shelf. So to make it look finished, I'm gonna paint the bottom that's on the shelf, and then this that's facing up, because this guy will go in. I can line this up real quick without it being glued. This guy will go in just like that. Okay, so I want to paint this, but now that I see this, I wonder if I should paint him white. I'm gonna do it brown. Just going with brown. Sometimes I think too much about stuff. If I don't like it, I can always go back over it. And you can use a sponge to do this, or you can use a wet baby wipe to give it like a full stain appearance. I've done that several times in other tutorials, so if you're curious how that works, go ahead and check out the rest of my videos. I talk about it all the time. So, and if you can't find a video, reach out. I am usually pretty speedy on responses. So if you come across my painting tutorial here, my name is Lisa. I'm with Forever Bloom. I started my business this year. This is 2026, and I fell in love. My husband got me a laser for Christmas one year, and I fell in love with. You can use paintbrushes, whatever your heart desires. Go around here. You can also use a roller since this is kind of a larger surface. But I like to use my rollers when I'm painting multiple, like batch painting. So just going around and making it as even as possible. Definitely with white, you have to use more than one coat. And since I just went over his mouth and it's pretty thick, I'm going to use my scraping tool in a second and go over the line so that, you know, patience. I always have to remind myself patience. Of course, I could go back in after I'm done painting and just use like a black Sharpie or paint pen and outline his face, but I like the engraved look. So I made myself a new scraping tool. I took a mechanical pencil, I got a pack of them pretty cheap, and I put a needle in where the lead would go. Just thought I'd try something different. Oops, I just jumped the line. So usually, like when I jump the track, you can kind of see that mark right there. I just take my finger and just kind of like buff it out. And then when I go over it again with paint, I'll make sure to get some down there. Okay. I'll let that dry. Paint this guy. This guy, I'm going to do warm sunset. I'm going to do a stem brown or green. I don't know which one yet. So you can go ahead and just paint it orange, or you can just carefully follow the score lines and not. But I don't want to have to go over it because it is a kind of a large area, but it'll be fine. I may go back over this with a second coat. We'll see how it dries. Okay, let that dry. And then let's move to our pieces here. So I want these to be a green. I think I'm going to use Hauser Light Green. This is my color match to Hauser Light Green from Decor. I got it color matched at Home Depot. And if anybody wants my a picture of like the formula so you can take it to Home Depot, reach out, let me know. Eventually I'll be creating a album, I think, on my Facebook page with all those little tips and tricks and stuff. But definitely with the light Hauser Green, we will have to go over this more than once. I find it cheaper to get, and they last longer, and I don't have to order so much, and it, so I get the sample sizes, or you can get bigger, like if you go through a particular color a lot. I've done it. I've gotten quart size or gallon sizes, and then I just transfer the paint into like a honey jar container. But you can use whatever type of container that you prefer. That's just what I do. So, okay, I'm gonna need to paint that again, but I'll let that dry. I'm gonna paint this purple, and I think I'm gonna go with Deco Arts Lavender. Just need a little bit of that. Okay. That might look good. With just one coat, but we'll see how it dries. Spooky, I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna do dark chocolate. And then I'm gonna use that for the base too, so. We can move these things to the side and work on our bases. So with the bases, this will be facing up, and then this will be facing your counter or shelf. So to make it look finished, I'm going to paint the bottom that's on the shelf, and then this that's facing up, because this guy will go in. I can line this up real quick without it being glued. This guy will go in just like that. Okay, so I want to paint this, but now that I see this, I wonder if I should paint him white. I'm going to do it brown. Just going with brown. Sometimes I think too much about stuff. If I don't like it, I can always go back over it. And you can use a sponge to do this, or you can use a wet baby wipe to give it like a full stain appearance. I've done that several times in other tutorials, so if you're curious how that works, go ahead and check out the rest of my videos. I talk about it all the time. So, and if you can't find a video, reach out. I am usually pretty speedy on responses. So if you come across my painting tutorial here, my name is Lisa. I'm with Forever Bloom. I started my business this year. This is 2026, and I fell in love. My husband got me a laser for Christmas one year, and I fell in love with. I've always been a crafter. I've always been a painter. I've always like had to use my husband's tools out in the garage to do like I'd take 1x2 wood and make cutouts and paint it, and my husband would get so mad at me. Well, not really mad, frustrated, because I put him to work because he's stronger than me. So I'm like, honey, can you cut this out for me? And then finally I gave him the idea. I'm like, no, if I had a laser, I could do this myself. And so he bought me a laser, and I have not slowed down. I love doing this. My ultimate goal is just to, either this is my retirement plan, or I want to quit my job. I work a 40-hour 8-to-5 job, and I would rather be doing this and teaching people and sharing my love of crafting with people. But, life's expensive, and I don't know. Maybe I can retire early and do this. I don't know. I do love my job, don't get me wrong. I love the people I work with. I love my staff. I love what I do. It's just, sometimes the political game is exhausting in the corporate world. So that was my soapbox, but if you found my channel and you are interested in purchasing any of my wood cutouts, I do Whatnot sales, live Whatnot sales. If you haven't heard of it, make sure you check out my Facebook page, because if you sign up through my referrals link, it'll give you, right now, it'll give you $25 credit that you can spend on any shop. So that's $25 just to go buy something off of Whatnot. And you can get a lot for $25, so highly recommend. But you have to be a new customer. If you're an existing customer, that link will not give you $25. So there's that. All right, so I'm gonna let those dry. I might do another coat, I don't know. Now I'm going to use a baby wipe and clean my fingers, because, wow, got paint everywhere. And I don't want to ruin my beautiful artwork with paint off my fingers. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to use black for the bats. And this is lamp black from Decor. Oops, sorry. Usually black doesn't need more than one coat, but these are dry, so let's go ahead and add another coat of light Hauser green. Got a goober. Okay, and since I have purple left, I'm just going to go over this again with purple. Or it's lavender, sorry. And spooky, let's do it. Okay, set that to the side. And then bring back this beautiful little cutesy ghost. So I'm using light buttermilk. Also, if you reach out to me with the question on like, hey, can I order this from you, and I am available and I have the inventory, meaning wood, I don't know where that hair came from. My dogs are shedding. We can work out a deal. I'm working on a website. It's not as fast as I think I would like it to be going, but you know, time. Everything takes time. So hopefully by this fall I'll have a website up. I'm not too interested in doing Etsy or anything like that. But maybe, I don't know. I just feel like Etsy's so saturated. And, I don't know. I keep getting these little fuzzy hairs. I don't know why, but whenever my dogs, I'm sure everybody else's dogs do this too, when they get baths, they like to shed. And it drives me crazy. Alright, we're going over the face, so I need to remember to be patient. You want to go over the engraving lightly, so you don't get paint down in the score lines. I'm not too worried about his eyes, because I'm going to dot those with black. Okay, I like him. Might have to go over him one more time, we'll see how he dries. Alright, Mr. Pumpkin. Color looks actually pretty good, but I still got a whole bunch of orange on my paints, or my palette, so I'm just going to go over him one more time. Just to be thorough. My husband had to work today, so I figured today would have been a good day to bust out a whole bunch of different painting tutorials, so we'll see if he comes home for lunch. It is still pretty early, so I do my painting tutorials in my kitchen at the dining room table. My kids are off to college. No one ever really uses the dining room table unless we have friends and family over, and if we have friends and family over, then my house is clean, so everything gets put away. But my daughter has one more year left of dental hygiene school, and then my son is applying for a master's level program in some microbiology, something other. I don't know. He's stinking smart. Okay, while I have this, I'm going to go ahead and paint his stem with the dark chocolate brown. Just if you're using a sponge, you just want to go up to the score line. But I'm also going to add a ribbon, so I'm not too worried. Just like that. Let that dry. Now with these, I definitely need to paint the center hole, so I'm just going to go around the middle of that one and this one. I kind of want to look and see what this looks like. So I think that the brown will look just fine. So if that happens, it's because my kerf is like dead on, like the amount of wood that it takes away and what I measure. If that bothers you, you can just sand this down a little bit and it'll go in a lot easier. But I like my stuff to be snug. Or you can take like a, let's see here, I have one here somewhere. No file. And you can just go down in there and just kind of sand a little bit away. It doesn't take much to make it a little bit bigger, so it's an idea. I doubt that sanding did any good thing, but line this up. It's hard doing this when they're not glued together. Yeah, but it would need a little more sanding. Okay. Alrighty. And to prevent this from happening to your products, if you want to constantly take them on and off, seal it, and it'll protect it from being scratched. A couple different tips and tricks for you. Okay, I think that this guy needs another color. Or another coat of paint. I'm trying to debate, do I want to go vintage on this guy and make him a little rustic? Or keep him plain Jane? I don't know what I want to do yet. Remember to go lightly over the engraving. And I got a little bit of paint and then engraving lines. That's okay, because I'm going to take my new fancy scraper tool and scrape it up. Just like that. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to do another coat of brown. Add another coat of light, or Hauser light green. Okay. I think while I let these things dry, I am going to glue the bases together. That's weird. And you want to make sure that it's lined up good, because if you get the slots off, like out of whack, then your things won't fit in them. And that looks good. I picked up these little pins the other day because I just wanted something to go down into the glue so it doesn't dry, and it rested. Alright, we'll let that sit. You also want to make sure that you don't get a lot of glue in this slot area. Glue will prevent your things from sitting down properly. So a lot of times I will take my finger and kind of rub the glue around. I like to use the art glitter glue. And make sure that it's lined up good. Okay, well, there we go. Sometimes those things like to stick together. A little bit of glue right there, but it's dry. And our glitter glue is water-based, so it cleans up pretty good. All right, I'll let those dry. I think I'm just going to keep him pretty plain Jane. I'm not going to do any shadowing. I mean, you could take like a sander and sand the edges just to warm him up a little bit, but I'm going to add some cheeks. So for cheeks, I like to use the Distressing Crayon Fire Brick color is what I'm using. So I just take a blender brush and load it up. And then I'll put it on the surface and kind of work it into the brush. And then I just lightly put it on my surface and go around in circles like you're applying blush. Just like so. Okay. And I'll load it up again. You definitely want to seal it after putting this on because this will activate with water. So, because like if you don't like this, you can always use like a wipey, a rag or something with water on it and wipe it off. And I just try and get them the cheeks as even as possible, but whimsy and whimsical is the name of the game, and I think that's cute. So we're gonna go with that. I'm gonna use my dotting tool. Where is that? I need to organize my little spinny thing I have over here. Because I have the habit of just throwing stuff in. So here's my dotting tool. I picked this up years ago from like the dollar store or something. I'm gonna use the bigger side. Dab it into some paint. I got a little extra on there, so I'm just gonna dab it off. So what I like to do is go from the bottom to the top. So I'll just dot and then move my daughter up. Go from the bottom to the top and move up. And sometimes I get a little carried away, and so then I just take the smaller end and kind of push the paint out. I like that. Okay. And put my blending brush away. We can go ahead and glue this guy on. So I'm fine with just using the glue like this to get it over the piece, but you can put it on your paint palette and then use a sponge. A lot of times I will take this and then just dab it on my surface. I'm trying to think, how do I want this to go? Boo? Or do I want it to go? I don't want everything on this side. So does that look silly? Nope, we're just gonna go with it. Again, I get in my head and I second guess what I would like. And this was my plan all along, so this is what we're doing. And I don't want everything on one side, so go ahead and glue down the dots. Just follow the engraving line for placement. But you can technically put these wherever your heart desires. Okay, we'll let that dry. Now this guy. I think I do want to float some color on him. And I think I'm going to use Tuscan Red just to give him some dimension. Let's see here. I'm going to use this brush. So this is one I picked up at Michael's. It's 3/8 inch angle. They didn't have my normal brushes that I used, but this was on the shelf, so I'm like, why not? You never know until you try it. So what I like to do, let's get some red on my palette, paint palette here. It's a lot. Okay, so what I like to do is I will get my brush nice and wet. Since it's brand new, I'm really gonna soak up the water. And once I feel like it's wet, I will dip it in the water, and then I will dab it on my baby wipe until I can see the water evaporate, because you don't want it to be too watered. And then I dip the corner of it just in my paint, so like so, and then I work it on my paint palette into the brush. So, and then I just go over the edges. I am not the best person when it comes to floating. I am self-taught. Definitely took a lot of practice, so if you have a hard time, don't fret about it. Just keep practicing. Find different techniques, use different paintbrushes. And you don't have to do this. I think it just adds a little bit extra character, so. And then when my brush starts getting a little dry, I will repeat the process, dabbing into some water, wait for the paint to dab off, get a little bit more paint. And as long as the paint is wet on your piece, you can move it with the paintbrush. So it's a little thick up here, so I'm just wiping off my paint and pushing it. So I didn't put any paint on my brush this time. I just took water. It's a little too bright, like too perfect, I guess. I don't know. Actually, I kind of like it. Let's see what the rest of it looks like. So dipped my brush into water, water, dabbed it, worked some paint on. Okay. I always like to pick it up and kind of take a look at it. I like that, and then gotta get that one other middle. Okay, I think that looks cute. Maybe just a little bit more on right here. Okay, I like that. So let me get my brush. All right, spooky. All right, let's glue down spooky. Okay, so I got this jelly roll of fabric from Jubilee Fabrics. This is the Cozy Jelly Roll. I think I'm gonna see if I can use some of this. definitely, I have another one. Let me go find it. I actually got two other ones. So this is the Cozy jelly roll. That one might be good for a pumpkin. Yeah. We'll see. I don't want to get it in my paint. Maybe. That's a maybe. You got browns and blues. And some good colors in here. Good patterns. If you're looking for like 2-inch strips and they go, I don't know how to see here. They're probably over 4 feet. Okay, and then I also got this one. This is the Merry Christmas jelly roll. So I plan on using a lot of this for Christmas. But you got greens, reds. That would be pretty. I love this type of pattern. But this is definitely not fall themed, so I'm not going to use this. And then I got this one, which is the Farmhouse Jelly Roll. Which I think has some really good patterns and colors. This one might be good for the ghost. We'll see. I'm going to pull it out. I also got black. And I got this. Is this the same? This looks a little bigger. Yep. I do like that. But I also got his purple tag, so I gotta keep mindful of that. I think that's about it. I think these are the back side of those colors. Alright. Or do I like this for the pumpkin? Green. I'm gonna go with that one. Okay. Decisions. And there's always string everywhere when I touch that stuff. Okay. So, let's see here. I think I'm also going to use some hemp string. Yeah. So let's do the pumpkin first. Woo! So I think I want to use this for the pumpkin. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut and then rip because I don't want it to be too thick. And I like the way the ripping the fabric looks. Pull out some of these strings. I want a frayed edge, so. Okay. So I want the bow to be a little bit on this side. Actually, I'm not going to tie the knot, or the tie, I'm going to do it this way. So, bunny ear, and then tie these two together. Just reduces the bulkiness, I feel. I'm not the best bow maker. Trust me, I have looked at all kinds of different YouTube tutorials and TikToks and whatever to figure out how do people get these bows so perfect. It's definitely an art. Alright. And then I just like to get my fingers in the loops and pull it tight. Kind of went the wrong direction with my bow though. Let's see if I can fix it.
Stuck in some cars in the drive, but your heart's packed up. Feel like the next couple years are gonna drag on by. See you're dreaming, chasing stars where you want to wind up. Stay where you are, trading the news that you're paying the worth of the ride. Hard to tell how far you are from the start and the finish line. In the middle of the road and the smoke ain't clear, don't know how to look at that.
Raffia would also be really cute to tie this on. So I'm just going to go under the bow and under the side of the bow, come up in the back and just tie a knot. I'm not going to tie it tight because I want to make sure I position that good first. Just going to tie a knot and trim. I want this bow tail out too. Per girl, pumpkin, not per coat. I like the bouncy bow. Trying to figure out how I want this tag. Let me stand it up. Maybe the bow is too long. I think I'm gonna cut this a little bit shorter. And I'm just pulling some strings off the bottom so that the bottom has a frayed look like the rest of it. Okay, I like this, but my tag doesn't want to sit where I want it to sit, so I'm going to add some glue and make it sit where I want it to sit. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit. Oops. Making a mess, guys. Making a mess. Got my glue and some paint. I need to get a clamp for my tag. I like to use these binder clips for my clamps. I find them a lot easier to handle than like wood clamps. So I'm just gonna set that to the side and then we'll work on our couch. Need to clean up my mess though. I got two pieces here. I only need one. Okay, I'm gonna cut this down in half and rip it like I did the other one. know where that one came from, but I got it everywhere. Okay. We're just committing. I think this one I want to do like a raggedy bow, maybe, and then we can add a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Oh. All right, so what I'm going to do is take probably about, I don't know, 6 inches or so. We're playing. All right, I'm gonna clean up some of my room or space here. This would probably look cute if I had different colors of fabric, but we are going with this. I can always change it later if I don't like it. Okay. And we can add some raffia. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do is just kind of go like this. You can trim it up later. Okay, I'm gonna put this on, and then I'm gonna tie that. Crunch it up to give it a little bit of movement. That actually turned out pretty cute. Okay, I need to plug in my glue gun. Let me go find that. Okay, I had to unplug my lamp so that I could plug in my hot glue gun, and then my phone unplugged. All right, he turned out cute. Kind of wondering if I need to like shorten the fabric just a little, or just leave it. You know, after I get it on, I can always shorten up the. I think I'm gonna definitely shorten this right here. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is peel this apart a little bit. He's cute. Okay, my hot glue is not quite ready yet. So let me clean up some of my mess. Okay, and then this goes in the base. And then you can pick up these candles at the Dollar Tree or on Amazon. They are just little, I'm trying to figure out the size. There is actually no size on here. Weird. I don't know. They're about probably 1 inch around, 1.5 inches tall. And then I'm gonna hold the candle, but then you can see the candle. Now you can do taller candles, like get the same diameter and do taller. I don't know, or shorter. You can do shorter too. I think that looks cute. I will definitely post a video of this tonight after it gets darker, so you guys can get the full effect. Woo! And then I dropped it, the candle anyway. All right, and here's how the pumpkin turned out. Raffy always adds a little extra special. I might redo this bow. I'm not sure, but here we go.